Ready to light that fire by doing the things that make you come alive? Welcome to Health Raisers, a podcast for wise women. I'm your host, Dr. Nadine. I left a soul-crushing medical career full of bad news and evolved into a joyful health integration coach, helping hundreds of women find their healthy. You're more than your dress size. Stop putting up with toxic relationships, swallowing your true emotions, and sacrificing your mental health. Stop using your body as a battlefield. You're always giving. You deserve to put yourself first, not just for your sake, but for those you love. Wise women, let's make ourselves a priority right now. It's time to raise some health together. Hello, wise women. Today I am thrilled to welcome Dr. Deborah Zucker, who became a healer out of necessity, plagued by chronic fatigue, barely able to get out of bed. Yet in her own words, she was compelled to share what she was learning about health, healing, and life with others. So this started as her own modern day spiritual quest, led her to help women write unconventional life stories. And she has also been the kind of doctor who believes that your health crisis might actually be your initiation into who you're meant to become. I really love your mission, Deborah. Thank you so much for being on here. And I really want to highlight the theme today of hope in our discussion. And I believe that you are exactly the right person to talk about this with me today. So welcome and thank you.
Thanks so much, Nadine. That was a wonderful introduction.
So let's kind of start with you taking the reins and telling us a little bit about your story and what has led you so passionately to help predominantly women.
Yeah. So in my early 20s, I spiraled down into chronic fatigue, depression, a host of other symptoms. And that became, as you already named, a calling for me as I dove into my own healing and the bewilderment and the disorientation of what that was for me at that time in my life, to feel like my early adulthood came to a standstill and I could barely get out of bed. And I found myself, as you said, wanting to share what I was learning with everyone, and to discover that, you know, the diagnosis I was given where it's only touching at one level, and it drew me into a deeper journey into the mental, emotional, spiritual realms of life and self-discovery, and exploring what was it that really allowed me to regain my energy, regain my vitality, to feel aligned with what brings me alive in life. And out of that, I, felt called to get training. So as a naturopathic physician, mental health counselor, coach, I've done a lot of different trainings. But my own healing journey has been parallel to that, and just living with the question, what's missing from the conversation? What is not being emphasized that I'm actually discovering in my own ways is maybe making some of the biggest changes for me in my life and in my state of well-being.
So this is resonating quite deeply for me, and I want to get to a concept that you've landed on. It's a really powerful word. Before I do that, the reason why I say it resonates with me is because, like you, out of necessity, I transitioned from a medical career as a pathologist to a yoga health coach. And what helped me land on where I needed to be after I made that transition, which all of it is necessary. We have to go through these things in order to become and to continue to evolve, I believe, just like you do, as you've said so eloquently. For me, it was, what does it really mean to be healthy? Because, the medicine teaches you one way to be healthy, and it's primarily physical. And for me, I felt like in my own journey to becoming a physician, something was missing. And yoga came into my life. Martial arts came into my life, and I started to find a little bit more of, the mind, body, spirit. That started to make a little bit more sense. Then when I hit rock bottom with my depression, this idea of a more comprehensive, multidimensional model of health came into my life as a life coach. Mm-hmm. And so that's kind of where my story landed, with this focus on multidimensional health. Yours, this word vitality, is what I'm noticing all over your work. Mm-hmm. What is vitality? How did you come to this concept?
Vitality is our birthright. Vitality is our life energy, expressing itself through us. And it's what makes us feel most alive. It's that sense of deep alignment with who we're here to be. It's that feeling like I have the resilience, I have the capacity to really show up and be myself in this life. No one else is here to do that but me. And, just there's a lot of different ways to talk about vitality, but I just think of it, if you think of, just the ways that, like, you plant a seed in the ground and you water it, and it's like this magic miracle happens, right? It's like that seed sort of bursts forth, and then this plant, or maybe a tree, grows forth from this tiny little seed into its own beautiful form. And if we tend to ourselves in that same kind of way that we would, a plant in our garden, that we provide it with the compost, the nourishment that we each need, the water, the sunlight, our versions of what those things are that really nourish our well-being. So we innately kind of grow into who we're here to be. And there's this freedom of expression. And to me, those are all different dimensions of what vitality is.
Bringing you Health Raisers is possible because of these incredible sponsors. Feeling the need for a little pampering? Do you want an escape from the hustle and bustle of daily life? Mac Salon and Day Spa is your destination for relaxation and rejuvenation in Southwest Michigan. Get ready for a retreat in the woods. Mac offers comprehensive services tailored to your needs, including massage, facials, nails, waxing, and hair treatments, ensuring you feel refreshed and beautiful. Whether you're preparing for a special occasion or simply treating yourself, the experts at MAC are committed to helping you look and feel your best. Their commitment to wellness isn't just about beauty. It's about balance, confidence, and feeling amazing in your skin. Visit them today and discover why they're Southwest Michigan's premier choice for all your beauty needs. Looking for some time away from the chaos of everyday life? Step into the beauty of Fernwood Botanical Garden, where nature, peace, and renewal come together. Nestled along the scenic St. Joseph River Valley, in between Niles and Buchanan, Fernwood's 105 acres of lush gardens, quiet trails, and serene woodlands offer a sanctuary for replenishing your soul. Wander through vibrant landscapes, listen to the melodies of birds, and connect with nature at your own pace. Indoors, you'll find an inspiring art gallery, a lush fern conservatory, and a welcoming cafe, perfect for reflection and relaxation. At Fernwood, there's always something to discover, from engaging classes and special events to charming, verdant venues for your own gatherings. It's more than a destination, it's a feeling, a place to breathe, learn, and grow. Plan your visit today. Explore, discover, connect.
In the mood for coffee, tea, yummy pastries, or cool swag? My friends at Infusco have got you covered. Infusco Coffee Roasters is a cozy neighborhood coffee joint in Sawyer and St. Joseph, Michigan. Infusco stands for a healthy community. They craft irresistible seasonal drinks, sourcing local artisans' products. The flavors shine from quality ingredients, and their beans are roasted on site. They do not hide behind tons of sugar. Every time I go, I'm greeted by my name with a smile. Bad service is just non-existent. It feels like stepping into a friend's living room. They keep it personal. Old school, eclectic coffee mugs on the wall, fun merch, including stickers designed by artists, t-shirts, and sweatshirts. It's the perfect place to get to know your neighbors and chat with tourists. You will always find people deep in conversation. Special events keep it fresh. Community, health, the heart of Sawyer. That's in Fusco. I hope to meet you there.
You talk about, let's dive a little bit deeper. So you talk about honoring your unique life as being the first key to stepping into your vitality. Within a world where a lot of advice is a one size fits all, how do you help women steer away from that concept, steer away from the status quo, and really tune into what she needs and maybe get unstuck from a narrative, a certain narrative of what everyone is supposed to look like and feel like and be like?
Yes, absolutely vital. We are all unique. And honoring your unique life is living, having a daily practice where we actually live in direct contact with our own mortality, with the preciousness of our life, and reframe self-care, from being a burden and this whole long list of all the things we're supposed to be doing to take care of ourselves, and instead see it as an honor and have a reverence towards our own life, because there is no one else that's here to be you. There's never going to be another you, never going to be another me. And to actually wake up to that, not just sort of in the fleeting ways that we do, when someone close to us dies or we have a near-death experience or there's a freak accident. It's like those things kind of jolt us awake and we're like, oh, I'm not going to take my life for granted. But to actually live that way day to day, it's a cultivation. It's an orientation. And so that's one part of it. As you said, that's key number one. I have 9 keys that I speak to in my book, The Vitality Map, and my new book, The Vitality Journal, a companion to that. And these are keys that have been drawn from my own exploration that I was speaking to before. And in a way, I kind of think of them as vitality fundamentals. They're like basic life skills we weren't taught, that wasn't modeled for us. And another piece of what you're speaking to, of the ways that we can get spun around with what everyone else is telling us we're supposed to do, the experts, the doctors, the new health fads, the new studies coming out. Everyone has advice for us around what we're supposed to be doing, and it can be crazy making. But if we learn to root ourselves in our own self-awareness and really cultivating a greater sense of the feedback that's there for each of us, 24/7, we're the only ones who can heed that feedback, recognizing again that we're each unique. There's basic needs all humans have, but we're each unique in terms of what really resonates for us. And to, strengthen that self-awareness. That's key number 3. And to take the time to recognize, oh, no one ever taught me how to do that. So I'm going to just embrace that beginner's mind and begin to explore, what is this symptom trying to tell me? What is the feedback here? What do I know really resonates or does not?
What is a catalyst that can help us to want to be curious, to want to make these changes? The reason why I say that is I don't think this is unique to me. This idea of being, say, a narrative of a good girl. A good girl takes care of everyone else. She puts her needs last. She is socially acceptable. She follows rules. If you've been in that mindset for a long time, what is a catalyst that can help, besides, like you said, something really catastrophic, like a near-death experience or something, a health crisis like we've both talked about, or the loss of a loved one or near loss of a loved one? How can we get to this point And what I've also heard from you is self-care, not meaning bubble baths and massages and candles, but real self-care, tapping into what we as individuals need, deserve, and want.
I love that question because this is what I want for everyone, right? Like, because I think so many people do open into that when there is some sort of crisis, when their life has brought them to their knees, or when they hit really significant burnout or depression or anxiety, which, I kind of see as epidemics right now, which are all pointing the way, right? That's all feedback for us to receive, to be like, oh, something's deeply out of alignment for me here. I'm putting my life energy where I'm not actually getting returns. And what I really hope, that's a significant thing. Where am I investing my life energy? Am I getting returns? Is it filling my well? Or is it just going down a hole in a life bucket, and not actually replenishing me? So when we're out of alignment, and this is key number 5 in my book, Aligning with Your Yes, when we're out of alignment, that is a huge, huge drain on our life energy and vitality and well-being. And that was a very significant thing for me in my healing journey with chronic fatigue, was discovering, oh, this is a big missing piece. Like, no one's really talking about that. Like, if I'm, putting my life energy towards a job, a relationship, a home, it's just, it's the little things as well as the really big things in our life. That, is it aligned or not? Does it need to be pruned or not? And, but to circle back to your question, what I was starting to say is that I really hope that we can get that feedback earlier, when it's more of like a whisper or a little nudge, rather than waiting until, we run into a brick wall, which is sort of what it felt like for me. And to live, key number 9 is living like you matter. And this is what you're speaking to. Like, we are so hardwired, particularly as women, to put everyone else's needs first. And there's this sense of, that we're doing what we're supposed to be doing. Like, we're living in service, we're caring for others, we're showing up, we are the caregivers, right? And yet, who's taking care of us? So living like you matter is about reframing that to include ourselves in that service, to include ourselves in that care, to recognize if we're not filling our own well, we're not serving anyone, because at some point we're going to hit that rock bottom, or we're going to have some crisis that wakes us up. So what if we choose to start turning towards ourselves earlier than that, to not let life take us to that really significant feedback where we have trouble even getting to our feet again?
What is your advice to clients you've helped who don't even understand the concept of a self, or what they feel is a sense of self is identifying as a nurturer of others? So they can't even understand what you mean by tuning in or listening to ourselves, or having the wherewithal to be in the moment and say, does this feel right? Is this replenishing? Is this depleting? Yes. How do you help a woman who can't connect with those concepts?
Yes. Oh, that is such a good question, because this gets to what I was speaking to before around, most of us were never taught these skills. We weren't taught how to cultivate this awareness. It's like a foreign language. And so to, first of all, like take away those shame voices, the self-judgments, there's something wrong with me because I don't know how to do this, or there's something wrong with me that I can't care for myself, and actually recognize,
there's something wrong with me because I don't want to do this thing that I should be doing.
Yes. Thank you for adding that. And because we've been programmed in particular ways to tune in or that it's wrong to tune in. Like the word selfish, it's like that comes up all the time with my clients. It's like that immediately shows up when we start to learn how to turn towards ourselves and tend to ourselves as a priority. This feels selfish. And I'm like, whoa, okay. Like that barometer of what selfish is so far off of what actually is true, what is, again, our birthright. And so, to women who this all feels really foreign, okay, recognize, okay, like we need to really embrace that beginner's mind. We need to embrace like, okay, like these are things that ideally I would have been taught when I was a kid and would have been modeled for me, but it wasn't. And so now when I'm 40, 50, 60, 70 years old, it's like, now's the time because, we need to start somewhere and to embrace that curiosity of what would it be if I begin to turn toward myself? What would it be if I extended to myself that same kindness, loving care that I extend to others? Yeah. What would it be for me to really acknowledge like this doing so is a deep service to others, because otherwise I'm not going to be able to be there for as long or with the same kind of energy and joy and vitality that, is possible for me.
So this is tapping into hope, which I want to talk about a little bit later again. But okay, so let's dive into something a little bit messy. What tends to be messaging is like in social media and shows you watch and things you read and people you talk to is this idea of we have to be positive. We have to be positive. Okay, that's great and everything. But you talk about shadow work, embracing our shadows.
Yeah.
These unconscious thought patterns that can sabotage our best intentions. So if you are doing the shoulding thing and going, I'm supposed to be positive and beautiful and smiling and happy all the time, it's hard to do that. So what are what does this look like in real life?
This looks like us accepting all of who we are. So accepting the parts of ourselves that, might be wounded, might have had trauma, intergenerational patterns that have been passed down to us that we find ourselves out and we're like, why am I doing this? And to bring compassion and care and understanding that all of us have these shadow parts, these unconscious parts, we all do. And that actually when we keep putting those masks on, because what you're talking about, like when we put this pressure on ourselves that we're supposed to be a certain way all the time, we're supposed to be happy, we're supposed to be energetic, we're supposed to be like the super women, who like can do everything and never get tired and do it with a smile, just all these like, subconscious messages that we've internalized. When we put those masks on and we live from that place, that is, again, what I was speaking to before, it's like our life energy is just going down the hole in the bucket. Like, because we are not at home in ourselves. We are not being authentic and aligned with who we actually are, with what our truth is. And it is incredibly, incredibly freeing to really own and relax into like the full spectrum of emotions, the full spectrum of perspectives, and just be like, this is the reality of how I am right now. Like, hey, like here I am teaching about vitality, I'll just speak for myself. And I got a really bad night's sleep last night. And I woke up tired. It was hard to get out of bed. I have a 5-year-old daughter and she's poking me. It's hard to get out of bed this morning. Yep. That's the reality. That's me in this moment.
So I'm tying this into the concept of fight or flight, sympathetic response versus parasympathetic rest digest. So if you're in fight or flight and surviving, it's hard to stop all those feelings and the amygdala and the fear and all that. It's hard to be able to stop and have that moment where you activate your frontal lobe when you're in rest or digest and say to yourself, tune into what's really going on. That's kind of what I'm hearing you saying. Does that sound right?
Yeah. So there's different dimensions. So I'm glad you brought in the nervous system, because this is absolutely core for all of us these days in modern day reality. Like, most of us are operating at a heightened nervous system state, that fight or flight, go, go, go. And it's like hard to turn that thermostat back down. But it's one of the most essential things we need to do to slow down and learn skills and capacities to shift into that rest and relaxed state and have that be more of our predominant. We always are going to fluctuate into different states of being. But to learn skills, and that to me is resilience. So, but to get back to your question, this is tied into the shadow area as well, because when we engage with shadow work, when we have the courage, and also support, we need support when we're doing shadow work for the most part, because it's hard to see what we haven't been able to see, and to begin to uncover those unconscious parts. But when we are operating, from those unconscious parts, and they're kind of running the show, it is often in that heightened nervous system state. Because again, we're not feeling relaxed and at home in ourselves.
Right. Yeah. Autopilot. Yeah. And again, not having the ability or the wherewithal to turn on the logical part, the executive function that's going to help give us that feedback, that information as to what to do next, to guide us. Talk about some practical steps then we can take maybe to even recognize that here's an example. Comparison is the thief of joy. So you're on social media as a woman at any stage in life. It's hard enough. There's always comparison in the world of advertising. You're not good enough, and you need this to improve yourself, and this and this and this. But then social media makes it harder, even if it's something so innocent as, oh, I just want to be able to see what friends are doing, what if they have grandchildren or if they have new children. But the problem is that it's not so simple, right? It becomes more than that, because we are visual creatures. So you're looking at something and you're going, wow, this person has it all together. She's the perfect mom. She's killing it at work. Oh, she's a perfect grandmother. She's dedicated, selfless. So what are some, in the real world, practical things we can do to help ourselves recognize our own mind-body connection, and putting ourselves in the right spaces to really be taking care of ourselves, making better choices, making choices that may not make sense for the next person? As you said, we're unique, but for us, it makes sense. And being firm about that.
Yeah. So there's a lot of different dimensions to it. First, because you gave the social media example, I just want to name, that's not reality, right? Like what we see on social media, like that's sort of similar to a mask, where it's like we just see these certain aspects of people's realities, right? Like, one of the things that I feel like is an honor and privilege in my work is I get to hear the inner journey of what's actually going on for people. So the outside, perfect mom, perfect job, everything's great. On the inside, there's these voices that, are berating, like, oh, I should be thinner. I should be this. I can't seem to keep up my exercise routines. It's just, so I just want to say, like, no matter how perfect things look on the outside, all of us humans are navigating kind of this similar terrain of learning, like, how do I actually turn towards myself with kindness and care? And that kind of gets to, the second part of what you were asking, what are steps? And really, my interest is in the long term, that we're actually cultivating a new foundation in ourselves.
Okay.
Of our relationship with ourselves, the way we talk to ourselves when no one's listening, so what I was just speaking to, like, that's a foundation. How do we begin to turn towards ourselves with kindness and love and care? And then from there, how do we open into curiosity of like, what is the feedback I'm receiving? Like, oh, and then, I'm kind of moving through the different keys really quickly, but just, feeling into what's aligned, what's not aligned. And then I'm going to create an experiment. So that's one thing I want to introduce here with your question is the orientation of experimentation, where we try something out and we learn, we see what happens. Like we try maybe a new exercise routine and we just see what happens. We try it out for a couple of weeks. We see whether it works for us or not, or whether we want to change the time of day or maybe the activity, and we learn from it. And then we tweak it from there. We create a new experiment. Maybe we continue some parts, we change other parts. But what I'm introducing here is letting go of some of the rule books and the rights and wrongs, that sense of failure that can come in for us in our self-care journey, where like we try something and then it doesn't work, and then we just go into this sense of failure, and then we get stuck and we're not able to do anything else. This is like experimentation allows us to just keep trying new things and learning as we go. And one of the most important things is staying in movement. So continue to bring that curiosity and that experimental orientation, that playfulness of like, what can I try now? What might be a new thing I could try? And to give it enough time to actually get some clear feedback. And that's where, another level of that is a new orientation around discipline, where it's not that harsh, mean, critical voice, but actually comes from that care and kindness and love for ourselves, where we have our own back. So we get clear about commitments. We get, intelligent. We use our intelligence to create strategies that actually fit into the realities of our life, not what we think our life should be, but our actual realities. So again, we're not setting ourselves up to be like, oh, I can't do that. But instead, oh, I think like I have some competing needs here. Like trying to do yoga first thing in the morning when I have a 5-year-old doesn't work. Like, right? It's just, so it's like, just really being realistic with our own life circumstances and our own uniqueness. And then creating the structures of support that allow us to actualize these changes.
So this all comes back to being curious. Okay, and what about the general pushback? I've been teaching yoga for many, many years, and I've had women come and go. And although I don't know why everyone didn't stick with it, and sometimes, not the right teacher, and that's perfectly fine, but sometimes I will hear not enough time. I don't have enough time. What you're talking about, what I work on with my yoga practice is basically, it's a necessity. Putting time, setting time for yourself. What do you say to women who push back? I don't have time.
Yes. That's such a common reality, with the way, again, the pressures that we live under, the expectations, thinking we need to do it all. Yeah. Different answers to that. One is looking with creativity, of where is there time that maybe it doesn't seem like there is time. So again, being with the realities of your life, like not denying those, but also, maybe there is a window of time if we ask for support from someone else, or we get creative of maybe it's not going to be a full hour, but maybe we, have 15 minutes here and 15 minutes there. And that can be a starting point, for creating new habits, sometimes like starting really small and just having it be a really like low threshold for beginning to engage. So 5-10 minutes, and just stacking those new habits next to other things that we're already doing. So it becomes more of just part of our flow, but we don't have to try so hard to fit it in. So those are some of the initial answers. Because then what I find is that once the habits start to take root and we get that feedback of, oh, I feel a lot better, even with 10 or 15 minutes of yoga, like I feel a lot better. Then it like starts to become more of a clear priority when we feel the difference in our daily life. And then, over time we might find like, okay, like I can sign up for that weekly hour, 2-hour class, or, and we figure it out with, the others in our life or other commitments to make that happen. And asking for support is a really, really key one here.
So I had a student yesterday in class. She was visiting. And one of the things she said to me after class was, how do I incorporate working on my balance on a regular basis? Because, I'm getting older and I'm noticing that, I'm losing it. And to the point of what you're saying, making things easy, and that this ties into my next question too. I said to her, because she goes, okay, so what are some examples of things that I can do? So I said, all right, practice mountain pose, our foundational pose in yoga, whether it's standing or sitting. And I said, so that means this is what mountain pose looks like when you're standing up. Good posture. It's a shorthand word. It's good posture. And when you're sitting, where can you practice good posture? In different circumstances, right? And so then, and I said, and the third thing would be standing up and down out of a chair, getting up and down, because all of these things are toning your core muscles. You're working on your balance. All of these things are vital for a healthy body, mind, and all that. Her next suggestion was to go, oh, so I should practice sitting up and down like 10 times a day, right? And I said, whoa, if you put that on yourself right away, then you're not going to follow through. So how about just starting with, when I'm sitting down and I think about it and I notice, can I practice good posture? When I'm standing in line, if I catch myself, can I practice good posture? Start like that, like weaving the thing into what you're already doing and then going from there. So I really appreciate what you said. And this leads me to your phrase, which I find brilliant: easeful discipline. It caught my attention. It sounds like an oxymoron. We often think of discipline as rigid and harsh, and ease suggests comfort and flow. Yes. So how can you help us understand what fierce but compassionate discipline looks like when it comes to taking care of ourselves?
Yes. Yeah. So I touched into it a little bit before, but I'll flesh it out, just how discipline is absolutely vital. When we're embracing a new habit or a change in our lives, there's that uncomfortable transition time where we don't immediately get that really clear feedback of, oh, this makes me feel better. Like sometimes, when we're detoxing or when we're just starting to exercise after not having exercise for a while, it's like it's uncomfortable at first. So we need something that carries us through that. And that's where discipline comes in. But it doesn't need to be mean and harsh and strict. What it needs to have is that orientation that we've been cultivating, from the earlier keys around like really having your own back and coming at this where it's like there's this fierce loyalty to yourself. Like you're going to do what it takes, but it doesn't need to be mean and harsh. So instead, it's like if we really look with clear eyes at the realities of our life and create these experiments that really fit into them. So we're clear about our commitment. We're clear about the realities. We orient as an experiment, so we're not setting ourselves up for failure. Then we have all different kinds of structures of support around us too. So it might be people that we're engaging with around it. So there's that sense of witnessing and accountability. It may be, calendar reminders that pop up. It may be, little, I call them love notes around our house, like little Post-it notes we post with little reminders or things that put us in the mood. And we choose things that we actually are really interested in doing, that light us up or make us curious. So again, it's like there's these basic needs we all have, but there's lots of different ways to fulfill them. So to choose foods that, you like. Don't make yourself eat things that you really don't like because you should. Like choose activities of movement that you love to do. Like don't do yoga if you really don't like it. Like do something else. But if you love yoga, go for it. Just to find what's aligned for us again. And also to lower that threshold and get creative. Like the creativity is so huge in easeful discipline too. So that again, it's like you're not boxing yourself up to try and will yourself into submission. You're just creating the structure and commitment and clarity for yourself to follow through with trying out something new. And that's a real, internal shift, and a shift in our broader culture too, around what discipline is.
Do you need to put parameters around experimentation so that you don't feel kind of aimless or lost, like time or
yes,
amount or whatever it is?
Yes. Yeah, thank you for naming that. Yes, getting really specific is absolutely vital, because otherwise, like, there's nothing you're really committing to. So yeah, like when you're creating the experiments, one, I suggest, I use 2 weeks as the general commitment time, because I find like it's short enough that it's not too overwhelming. It doesn't feel like, oh, I've committed to this thing for a really long time, but it's long enough that we usually begin to get some feedback. And it's not like 2 weeks is the end of the process. It's just, when we reassess and then see what needs to change. But also getting really specific around like what time of day, like how is this fitting into the flow of the day? What props or other things do I need to have to actually make this happen? Because it's amazing all the things that can sabotage or trip us up in actualizing changes. Like people might have a really, really wonderful plan, to start doing some new routine, but it's like they don't have a space in their home where they can actually do that, or they need to go to the gym, but they haven't budgeted the time to drive there and back in addition to the time they need, just to really look with clear eyes and plan accordingly around what it is you're trying to actualize, and seriously, like, have fun, like, bring the creativity, bring the playfulness, like, make it fun and enjoyable for yourself. Like, I often suggest to women who might have, feel this huge barrier at the beginning to do a lot of movement again when they haven't had, movement practice. Like, start off, if you like to dance, just turn on some dance music for 5 minutes, throughout the day, at different times throughout the day, and just dance in your office, dance in your kitchen, like, just begin to just find that connection again with your body in ways like that might look different than what we're told we're supposed to be doing.
Okay. 3 more questions.
Yeah.
And I'm saying that very specifically because I want to keep talking. So I need to rein myself in. Yeah. I've really appreciated our chat today. So the 9th key you talked about earlier, living like we matter. I want to tie that a little bit, dive into the idea of service. How, if you are a person who believes, like I do, that I am one of my purposes, one of my reasons for being here is to serve. Can we be a little bit more specific about why taking care of ourselves, beyond the platitudes of you can't pour from an empty, we've all heard that, but truly, how is taking care of ourselves an act of service to others?
Yeah. So this to me kind of gets into kind of a deeper, inquiry into life and who we each are, right? So like one part of this key is, each of us is not an accident. We are part of the web of life. Like, our life matters. And to feel and acknowledge, regardless of our orientation around service or our sense of a mission or calling, each and every one of us matters. Like, our presence in the web of life matters. Like you can see it all the time in life. It's like you might have an interaction with someone at the grocery store that really impacts you and lives on in you, like changes something in you. That person at the grocery store probably has no idea that they've had that impact on you. And same, like all the time, we're showing up, just being ourselves. And the more alive and vital we can be as we're moving through our life as ourselves, the more just our presence ripples out in the world. So it can sometimes and often is invisible, the ways that we impact and show up. And I think what I really want to emphasize with this key is that, like, it doesn't matter the scale of our impact or our calling or our sense of service, but to really recognize, like, our life matters. Each of our lives matter. And each of us is the only one here, as adults to take care of ourselves, right? Like no one else, it's not anyone else's responsibility to take care of ourselves or to support our life and being as large and full a presence as it can be. And so it is kind of a deeper, more spiritual inquiry into ourselves of what is that, to really come in contact with that, to recognize like, I'm not here by accident. Like my life matters just as much as any other life here. And I'm going to show up and live my life as fully as I can. And that starts with taking care of the foundation of my well-being.
Do you see a connection between vitality and hope?
Well, certainly. That question too. Yes. I can just speak personally, like even just that question, like just my heart just sort of cracked open and I felt sort of this, opening of energy. And I feel like when we orient around vitality, that again, it's our birthright. Like our vitality is life energy moving through this particular form, this body being that we are, that happens to be conscious and aware of itself and has a name. It's just like, I just want to name that, just the miraculousness of all of that, right? Mm-hmm. That we're walking around, as this, conscious being with a sense of identity and volition. And to be in touch with that vitality and to nurture that, to be the steward of that expression of vitality that is us, like it naturally opens us into kind of the bigger picture of life, which to me opens us into hope and trust in the unfolding, of our individual life, but the collective unfolding of all of us as human beings. And that, again, that we each matter as we show up and tend to and care for each other in community and in the world and to ourselves. And just that sense, too, I think sometimes we can equate hope with what you're speaking to earlier in the session around like, that false sense of needing to stay positive all the time. Like to me, hope includes it all. It's like being with the fullness of reality, with the complexities of who we are. It's kind of bowing in recognition that our crises in life are also part of the journey that awaken us and allow us to live more fully and to not deny any part of the journey or life experience, but to trust, because trust to me is so connected to hope, to really just trust, in all the aspects of what our life has been, how it shaped who we are now, and how that orientation, allows us to open into who we're becoming. And all of that is just so deeply connected to vitality. And so that's my answer to that question. That was a new question for me. I really love it. Yeah.
Thank you. I'm really taking this in, and this is going to stay with me for a very, very long time. My last question for every guest is, what is your personal definition of what it means to be healthy?
Well, I feel like I kind of just answered that with the question. Let me see if anything else wants to come through. Really what comes to me is being at home in ourselves. Being at home in ourselves. Like, I think it can be as simple as that.
Simple, but difficult.
Profound,
It's challenging. Simplicity is, to me, very underrated. Simplicity is so effective and hard to do.
Yes. Thank you for naming that. Because I view the 9 keys that we've been touching into today as that. It's like there's such a simplicity to them, and sort of like of course. And yet, there's a profundity to what it is to actually learn to live from that place in our lives, to really be at home in ourselves.
Dr. Deborah Zucker, thank you. The light in me honors the light in you. Thank you so very much for being here. How can our beautiful listeners find you and your book? Books.
Books, yes. My business is Vital Medicines, so vitalmedicine.com. And I actually have a special page for podcast listeners to go to. So vitalmedicine.com/podcast. And there you'll find links to my books, the Vitality Map and the Vitality Journal. I'm also offered discounts to my programs. I specialize in working with women too, and offer women's circles and one-on-one virtual coaching and retreat-based programs. So lots of ways to engage virtually and in person. And and my books are found on Amazon and through any bookstore as well.
Yeah. Thank you for being here. I really appreciate you.
Yeah, likewise, Nadine. Thank you for this rich conversation.
Wise women, move from last place to first place in your life. Stop using your body as a battlefield. Let's raise health together with a customized health plan just for you. Contact me at npkhealthintegration.com. Thanks for listening. See you next time.